Alright, we're about to go ahead and get into it today, you guys. This is Megaz0 on Megaz0's Arcanum. And today we're going to talk about a little creation I made, and that is Load Continent. This is a portion of the digital world that was separated. I have a whole story detailed, and I hope you guys like it. So we're going to go ahead and just start with the Dark Sea, which essentially is like the Dark Ocean. But it is separate from the standard digital world. There's not much that's known about this. What is known is that no Digimon goes into this sea. The only waters that they go to are within the continent of Load. Anyone who does go into the Dark Sea never seems to come back out. And again, there's not much that's known about this place. But the continent of Load is quite intriguing. So essentially what I came up with for the idea of this continent is that basically Megaz0's deleted most of the Digimon on the digital world, but before that happened it actually had created the Load continent to study the potential for a better digital world where it would not become overpopulated and it would be sustainable. And so the Load continent was made. Now from top view, Load looks like a saw shape or spiral shape. It has 7 tails, and as the desert fades, the land on each tail share an affinity to the original 6 fields. The 7th tail is actually designated for the free Digimon, X-antibody Digimon and such, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. The other 6 original fields are, of course, the Deep Savers, Nature Spirits, Nightmare Soldiers, Wind Guardians, Virus Busters, and Metal Empire. The land is treacherous and varied. While not as massive as Folder, this continent has many different Digimon in various regions with different field affinities. At the center of this continent is a massive tree growing out of the vast desert. These tree branches stretch out over the entire continent. The long branches reach down to the ground in some regions, creating a network of highways across the land. Digimon of all types travel along these to traverse the land faster and safer. The center of Load is known as the Hard Drive Desert. Roads have been built into the branches, and this road structure is known as the Loading Highway. Now I do want to take a few steps back and go ahead and talk about the loading tree itself, because it is an important feature in Load Continent. The loading tree is a supermassive tree made by Megaz0 to provide sustenance to this continent. The tree pulls energy from the center of the continent up and into its branches and bears fruit for all Digimon across the land. This was done to prevent deletion, as in this server Digimon cannot be reborn, and so eating of other Digimon was forbidden. Megaz0 disappeared many cycles ago. Chaos ensues when Andromelecmon emerges and begins consuming baby Digimon to gain power. He has effectively become the deletion program he tried to stop on the original digital world. This is when evil Digimon begin to discover that the Royal Knights will no longer interfere with Load, and so began the carnage. The Royal Knights had been at times assigned by Megaz0 to shut down any issues or any disruptions that were taking place in the Load continent, but after Megaz0's disappearance, for those of you who know the story of Digimon X, of course, after that disappearance, the Royal Knights no longer found need to even go to Load, as it was a lost world essentially. Now, Andromelecmon is a super ultimate level Digimon and the ruler of the Nightmare Soldiers in Load Continent. He wants to delete this continent for the revenge for the destruction of his old world, the original digital world. We'll get into his character a little bit later as I go on with this series. Alright, let us dive into the history of the Load continent here. Load was created by Megaz0 as a testing ground in order to make a more efficient digital world. Load was never intended to remain a sustainable habitat and was due for a complete deletion following the X antibody event. Even though Load was made to be a test, it is still a very capable land. The components that make a digital world function are all present. Load is about the size of the folder continent, but smaller. It has data on all regions of the original digital world, as well as X antibody and free Digimon data, not yet seen. Before the new digital world could be completed, there was a great corruption. When the source of the corruption was discovered, it was too late. Yggdrasil had suddenly disappeared. Now, with Yggdrasil's disappearance, it had left behind the continent of Load unattended and somewhat disconnected from the true digital world, having never been planned to be a part of it. By this time, the digital world was bare and nearly without any life forms. Yggdrasil's corruption had led to the deletion of all but a fraction of Digimon, to which all that remained bore the X antibody or were able to traverse to the dark area. Now you might be asking, how could they travel through the dark area? Let me explain. The Digimon began to learn that the only way to continue on surviving was to head to the fabled Load continent. After some time, it had become common knowledge that a heroic Digimon died finding a path through and breaking through into the dark area to get through to the Load continent. The remaining Digimon in the old digital world began traversing through patches in the dark area, allowing them to avoid detection from the 7 evil demon lords and the treacherous and charming Grand Dracmon. So then all Digimon with knowledge of Load make the trek, but many meet their end when confronted by an evil Digimon that captures any it comes across. Many of those Digimon became a part of their nightmare soldiers. Others fled into the dark area, losing their way. Those that escaped to the new world had to force their way out of the region, making their way to Loading Hideaway. Many of these Digimon now reside in the free zone. The War of the Machines breaks out when the Nightmare Soldiers begin invading the Metal Empire and taking control of its programmable machine Digimon using dark gears. They are able to take over 25% of the zone. This war has slowed, but is ongoing and has made the two areas the most dangerous and fearsome places in the digital continent. The Nightmare Soldiers want to gain the full power of the machine Digimon in order to destroy the Virus Busters. From there, they can destroy the other sectors of Load with ease. It is not known why they wish to do this, but the Metal Empire is formidable, and as a result, the war has lasted for cycles, but appears to be coming to a head with the Metal Empire on its last leg. Alright, now that I've gotten a little bit of the continent explained, I do want to go ahead and talk about the current story at hand. So I'm going to actually let my son do this part. And I will let him take over here in just a moment. Enjoy.
Okay, this tamer is a stubborn boy with a determined look on his face. This tamer was transported to the server, where Load content resides, by none other than Genai. He was in the real world, playing with one of his Digivice toys when it picked up a signal. Megaz0 followed the signal leading to his laptop where Genai appears. He tells Megaz0 that there was another world that needs his help, that they have already lost one world. But there's a new one is in danger of the same truth. Megaz0 decides to go without hesitation to stop the evil that Loads.
At the same time, 2 other teams are also making their way to the same goal because the Digimon all reside on different zones. The journey to meet up is long and difficult. Initially, the divided Team Digimon capped out at Champion Alter Form level, a step above Champion but not quite rivaling Ultimate level. leaving them in a desperate need of each other. Eventually, Megaz0 meets up with the vaccine tamer. At the time of their meeting, both are being pursued. They team up without hesitation, and their digiloaders resonate, and the Digimon jogress into their new form. Jogressing, of course, is like DNA digivolving for those of you who don't know, and the digiloader is the digivice in this series. Now that we have some of the visuals and the continent explained, I do want to go into the story a little bit more, the present day story and what's happening. The Lode continent is in danger, the original digital world is bare, and an evil has arrived in the Lode continent. Genai detects this and recruits 3 tamers and selects 3 Digimon, 1 data, 1 virus, and 1 vaccine to join forces with the children to end the terror. Our story starts with Megaz0 in the real world. He gets brought to Lode by Genai and sent to the edge of nature spirits, where he meets Jellymon and starts his journey. Genai transports him and others, unbeknownst to him, to Lode continent. He appears near Dark Sea. Megaz0 meets his partner Jellymon. Another Jellymon is seen running away, and the two start out on their adventure. Yes, more on that other Jellymon later on. His story gets pretty interesting. Megaz0 and now Duftmon, having evolved during their traveling, tells Megaz0 they need to find the other chosen tamers. There were 2 others. Together, they should be able to take out the powerful Adrenalecmon and end all of the carnage it has set forth on Lode continent. I do hope you all enjoyed what I've brought so far. I've been working on this for a little bit. It's something I'm a little bit excited about, and I kind of just want to share my own story of Digimon with my own characters and designs. I'm still working on quite a few, and I'm teaming up with one of my friends, old friend of mine, and he does a lot of art stuff. So he's actually going to be featured in this video, and actually you've seen some of his art in here as well. I'm going to be working with him, and I hope you are able to enjoy the story that I'm going to bring, as well as a lot of the art and designs and concepts that I want to discuss on this channel. That's going to be it for now. Thank you for watching.
So what this pretty much is my dad's story that he made. He spent a lot of time on it. So can you please click that like button, because he needs to spend more time on this, because he needs to make this better. So can you use Pulsemon to I don't know, pulse the like button, just electrify it. I don't know, just